Today we're going to be showing you the VTBA Secure Edge demo using a VHC25. The demonstration that we'll be covering today is for an SMB kind of application. This process could be extended to a variety of security settings for enterprise as well, but we are specifically showing a simplified version for SMB. The setup for the system today, again, is the SMB environment. In this slide, we show two SMB locations. In the demonstration itself, we actually have three SMB locations. We have a number of devices connected to a VHC25 5G system, which would then connect up to the ISP cloud and then out to the internet. The devices that we have associated with the SMB, we've put into what we call a secure profile, a common profile, and a guest profile. Associated with each profile is various DNS settings, various security settings, and connectivity settings. These devices are only connected to what they need to be connected to, depending on their profiles. The other thing that we've added in terms of the connections, and you can see the connections here where, for example, the secure profile goes out through red, through the ISP, and then, if desired, can connect back to associated SMB at another location. Same thing occurs with the common profile. So for example, if you want to run a print job from one location to another location, say across town, that could be done securely through this system. Also, a secure profile has, again, very significant security associated with it. These tunnels are set up and, again, are only connected to what they need to be connected to. So, for example, if you had a point of sale system in here, it would be fully isolated from, say, the common profile or even the guest profile. That prevents east-west kind of interference or even north-south interference. The setup that we have today, again, is three VHCs 25s running. Each site is controlled and authorized by a party for the site, and we'll explain how that occurs, and we'll walk through the portal associated with that. As we noted, various devices are connected to each gateway within each SMB site. We've structured it in a way that for each category, secure, common, that's very easy to connect. And the way we describe it is it just works. It's very simple to set up and very fast. Again, we have predefined DNS filtering. It can be adjusted by the ISP if wanted, but for this demo, we'll show you the DNS filtering that occurs and how we can block various traffic. And then again, we provide both isolation and security. Each site, as we noted, can communicate to other sites. Again, that can be toggled on and off by a system administrator. And the ISP or managed service provider has the ability to take information coming off our software on the VHC25 and looking at a variety of things, such as all device connectivity, it's application aware, so it can show you which applications are using what bandwidth, what applications are attached. And you also get a high degree of LAN and WAN side performance information that can be used for, say, driving an AI system that then suggests various customer care or proactive customer care actions. Today's view that we have that we'll walk through in terms of the demonstration, in terms of a construct for the demonstrations, we'll start first with the MSP view or ISP view, the administrative view from the operator perspective. We'll show the organizational views, how the ISP can then look across multi-tenant, so multiple customers. And then we'll drive into something we call insights, which is all the rich information we get on devices, application, and the performance side. We'll then drop down into the SMB administrative role, where you define users and management, you set up your locations, You also look at LAN and WAN side performance, and you establish your security policies and those buckets, essentially, the secure, the common, and then the guest profiles and what devices go into those. Then finally, the SMB local administrator, that's somebody that's actually on the ground at the various site that they can control the system both through the online portal, but also through a mobile application as well. And we'll demonstrate that to you today through a real-time demo. And we'll show how that person and how collectively devices can be segregated into a variety of categories and how devices can be authorized. So with that, we'll go through the demo here, and I'll turn it over to Ryan.
Thanks, Barry. Let me pull up the web interface here. Okay, so what we're looking at here is the web-based administration system for the product offering as the single glass, and this is the same experience or the same application that will be used for both the MSP regarding the roles that were described in the previous slide, as well as the organization administrator for an actual SMB company. So first we'll log in as the MSP. This would be the operator themselves, the service provider. And when I log in, I get a view which is the overall administration of the system. So we see here we can create administrative users. These are other MSP administrative users that would have accounts that can also log in to manage the product offering. Under organizations, we will list all the MSP customers here. So we can see that there are various SMBs. This is a demo system, and these are sample customers. Obviously, in a commercial deployment, you'd have many, many more. But this is for illustrative purposes to walk through the feature set for the product. So we have a few that we've created here for the demo today. We'll be using this Blossom's Flower Shop in particular for the demo. But before we go into the organization itself, we can look a bit more here at the MSP admin view. The networks presents all the connected networks, all the connected VHC-25s in the system across all SMB customers. So it gives you a cross-system view to find specific routers or CPEs and be able to administer them. And we see here for our demo, there are a couple of different organizations that have their own VHC-25s. And in our Blossom's Flower Shop right now, only this one's online for our demo, but there are two at the flower shop here. One's at a downtown location and one's at a mall. The event system is more of a technical tool for the product, which allows the administrator to see all the events that have happened, authorizations, who's connected when. It's great for diagnostics, customer support, and really used kind of as an adjunct to the product itself to help the MSP operate the offering. And then before we go too further into the product itself, we mentioned insights. It's probably a good point here to just take a look at the data we collect before we get into the product features themselves. So the Insights portal, I have it open in the second tab here, allows us to see a lot of rich information. All the devices that are connected throughout the entire platform, all the net flow data, all the activity that's generated, that's all collected here and classified. And what we're looking at here are all the devices that are connected for one particular VHC-25, one particular endpoint. Now, this is, again, a representative sample set of data we have to illustrate the product. In this case, we have a TV. We have a couple Google Pixel phones. We see some Windows devices, various other devices. Excuse me there. Various other devices that are deployed on this VHC-25. And we can see the bandwidth utilization of these devices over time. We also have the ability to detect the applications that are used by these devices. So here we see when we pull this up, Google is the #1 application being used. There's YouTube, someone doing some shopping apparently at Macy's, a retail store here, Microsoft, Google, all the usual suspects you'd see here. And this is typical of what you may see in an SMB environment where there's a mix of business applications and maybe some personal use, maybe for the business owner. We also get a little lower detail in the network stack in terms of what we capture. Here we can look at the actual protocols that are being used across all the devices. You know, typical web traffic is largely quick or HTTPS. So this was what we would see to represent, you know, the bulk of the web of the traffic being used across the network. But we do see other protocols like IPsec, STUN, TTS, XMPP, and it helps you get a view of how the customers are using the product for marketing purposes or customer support purposes, for example. And then if we go even lower into the flow, into the data here, we can see the actual discrete network flows that are generating all this data. These are actual network flows that some of them are very long-lived, some of them may be very short. In these cases, we see that there's a Sony Bravia TV here that is using the QUIC protocol. And as you may be familiar, the QUIC protocol is Google's protocol for streaming content. So it's likely watching maybe a streaming service or something on this TV here. And we can see the MAC addresses that were used in the remote location that was connected to, the IP versions, the transport protocol that was used, again, the application protocol. So it gives us a very, very fine-grained level of detail, including the amount of data being transferred, the ports being used. So all kinds of applications that can be built. Again, it's customer service oriented, it's customer support. It's also a great rich set of data for AI-based applications to become predictive over what is happening on the network, what kind of experiences consumers may be having or SMB enterprise users may be having, and be able to react to those proactively. So that's a brief overview of the Insights product. There's a lot more in here, but just for the purposes of our demo, that's the kind of a high-level walkthrough. And if we go back to our administrative tool here now, we can take a look at the Blossom's Flower Shop organization, the SM Small Medium Business Organization. Now, in this view, this is the MSP's high-level view of all the customers. When I click this arrow here, I'll be able to log into the Blossom's Flower Shop administrative interface, and I'll have the same administrative view that Blossom's organization itself will have. So when I click on this link here, you'll see this now presents a new navigational panel on the left. Now, because I'm on the MSP, logged in as the MSP here, I have this link here at the very top to go back to the MSP administrator view. So this allows me to go back and forth between the two roles. If I am accessing this as the Blossom's Flower Shop organization manager themselves, like I've signed in as the Blossom's organization manager, I see everything the same here, but I would not have the via admin link back. I would not be able to go back to the MSP view. I wouldn't have that role. So what we see on our dashboard is a summary of all the web traffic that's been monitored by BTBA security product. Now, again, this is a demo account and there isn't a lot of data over time, but we can see here there are 730 total web requests that have been monitored. 716 have been allowed and 14 have been blocked. And if we look at the blocked accounts, we can see Marlboro, which is a cigarette brand, Match.com, and Plenty of Fish, which are both dating sites. And this allows the administrator to tailor the policy for what kind of content can be accessed from this organization. And that those policies are all managed under this content filtering section. So we have the ability to create multiple policies, and I'll explain how they can be used, but you can create multiple different filtering policies for what kind of web traffic is allowed, and then apply them to different types of users in your organization. So we have two here. We have one for all organization users, and we have one for all guests. And if I click on the organization link here, I can see various pre-categorized web traffic that can be selectively blocked. So if you recall in the previous view, we were blocking a cigarette brand, Marlboro. Well, that's because this alcohol and tobacco option here is blocked. And there was also 2 dating sites that were blocked, and that's because the dating and personals categories are blocked right here. And it's simple to click and toggle these. I can simply click on the alcohol and tobacco. Now that traffic will be allowed, and I can click on it, and now it will be blocked once again for all users of this profile. So this is a great way to control the categorical web traffic that users can access for like acceptable use policies of your organization. There's also the ability to protect against threats. So similarly, we have these categorized threats. And these can be also turned on and off based on the level of protection you want to apply to your organization. And you can see various categories you may expect to see: botnets, crypto mining, malware. All the web destinations that are managed within these categories are updated in real time. So we subscribe to a source from various providers for real-time feeds to give us, destinations that are presenting threats in real time. So if a particular malware or ransomware service exploit were to crop up, we very quickly would get those destinations added to our databases and be able to block them. And it's probably not a feature that's relevant for SMB, a type of customer who may not be as technical, but the platform does allow the ability to manually curate, allow lists and block lists, or extend the categories by putting in the specific domains or domain patterns that an SMB organization may want to block or allow. So to mention that, I'll explain how these content filtering policies are used. They're used through profiles. So as Perry mentioned in the previous slides, there's a secure profile, a common profile, and a guest profile in this product. Well, each profile has some things that we can set to manage the policies. We can require the type of authorization required when a device joins that profile. So every connection in this case, you would require administrative authorization. In the case of the common profile, we require only the first time a new device is seen to authorize it, and then we'll remember that device from that point forward. Maybe for the guest profile, you don't want any admin intervention. You simply trust the passphrase on the Wi-Fi network itself, and that's good enough for your guests. We can also have our administrative users notified when a new device connects, so they know that they need to go and authorize it, or just be aware that a device is connected. And then we have the content filtering policies that we just looked at in the prior views. Here's where we can assign the type of policy we want to apply to each of these profiles. So I could go back to the content filtering section. I could create a content filtering policy for common profiles just for that one particular profile, and I could change this to be the common filtering profile. So this allows me to have different types of rules and access policies for different groups of users. And this is a summary here that tells us what devices across these profiles can access amongst themselves. So by definition, all the secure profile devices can access all the devices in the secure profile. They can all talk to each other. But secure profile devices can also talk across to devices in the common profile. So for example, in your office location, you may put your personal computer in the secure profile, but you have a shared printer for the office, and you may put that in the common profile. What this security policy allows you to do is print to that printer from your work laptop into the common profile, but don't allow the maybe shared computer in the office on the common profile to be able to connect to your laptop. So it allows your laptop to remain isolated and secure while still using common resources in the office. It's a very common use case for that. And all these settings here we see can be managed on a profile by profile basis just by clicking on the edit actions here. And we have just a simple visual representation here across the top to help explain and reinforce the concepts here of these profiles. So secure, you may want to put your point of sale systems and security cameras and management devices in this profile, kind of as I described a moment ago. And common may be things such as your common television displays in the office, shared office computers, and maybe shared printers, or maybe you have a Sonos or audio system in the office, and that's also shared, kind of those IoT type devices. And then if you do have a guest network for any customers or anybody else out that you want to allow out to access outside the organization, those devices are all now completely isolated to each other and they can't see each other. And you can further restrict them with the content filtering policy we mentioned. And of course, they can't see anything in your common or your secure profile. So this is a great way to completely isolate those devices that you don't want anywhere near your trusted network. So this is the core of the features and capabilities and the policy controls we have in the product. Now, if we look at the network side, this is where we have the actual VHE25s listed as the connected devices offering the network connectivity. In this case, we have the Mall Store Gateway online. And if we look at the dashboard for the Mall Store Gateway, it gives us a live view of what's happening on this box. And we can see that it has one device that's not authorized, one device that is, and no devices that are authorized. And we have the device connected here down below. And we can see it's a point of sale system that's using the secure profile, but it's not currently authorized. And maybe it's an iPad, for example, running a point of sale system with a card swipe on it. So because it's not authorized, we need to now authorize it. The authorization can be done via the web interface. It can also be done via the mobile app. The benefit of the mobile app is you have employees that are working there on site. Maybe they're managing one particular physical site. They're not administrators. You may not want to give them full access to your whole management tool on the web, but you can let them install the application on their phone, and they get a limited view for only their location. And I'm gonna share my turn my camera on here a moment so I can show you my phone. And you can see here in this particular case, let me expand my view here so I can see my own camera to make sure you see the view all right. So in this case, we have an employee named Sam Shader, and he manages the mall store. And this is what we're looking at here in this view. And you can see there's one device there that is authorization required, which is, again, our point of sale system, the same system we're looking at in the web view. And so now if I'm Sam Shader and I'm managing the mall location, I want to authorize this device. I don't need to go to the web. It's a mobile first experience for me as the location manager. So I can tap on the point of sale system, and it brings up for me a view to authorize this device. And in this particular case, I have options to choose the profile that I want to use. So I choose the secure profile, and then I simply tap on authorize down below here, and you can see now this device is authorized. And if we watch in the web view, we see that will transition now from not authorized to authorized. So in real time there, you can see that was it just took seconds for us to detect that authorization had occurred. And so it presents a real-time view of what's happening in the network. So now this device, this point of sale system we authorize now is full access based on the profile policy. In this case, it would be the secure profile to access all the web traffic allowed and to use the network and access all the devices that it's allowed to connect with. A couple more areas of this application to share here are the all endpoint devices. So this is where you can see all the devices you have in your location. And again, in the mall store today for our demo, we have the point of sale system online, but you can see that there are many other devices here that are also located at the mall store. So that administrator, Sam Jader, would have the ability to manage all these. And then I mentioned administrators in this this particular user's or site manager, Sam Shader. So here's all the people in the Blossoms Flower Shop organization now. If you recall, originally we were looking at the administrators for the MSP view. Now we're looking at administrators just for this SMB. And we see we have 3 organization admins, Carol Stenger, Karen Green, and Susan Hall. So maybe these are like the 3 owners of part owners of this flower shop chain. And they have 1 employee at each physical location. So Stacy Hunter as a site manager, Sam Chater as a site manager, and Jeff Mitchell will be a site manager, all managed independently. And then lastly, we'll tie this back to the sites themselves to see how this all connects. So if I click on sites up here, I can see I have these 3 locations, and I have Sam Chater as the site manager. If I edit this, the mall store location, I can see that I can add other users, site managers to this location to give them the ability to also manage the connectivity there. So this gives the organization, SMB, great flexibility to decide who should be able to manage what. So only the users in certain locations have the ability to control that environment and what has connectivity there. So that's a high-level view of the product. Perry, I can pass it back to you.
Thanks, Ryan. So although we showed this for the SMB system, this can be equally applied to IoT situations where you have individual devices, say smart meters, electric meters, cameras, what have you, that can't run agents on them. But through this way, we can isolate those from other devices and allow those devices to only connect to what they need to be connected to. So we can set up secure channels. Also, we can extend, even though we did this for the SMB and created these 3 categories of secure profile, common profile, or guest profile, we could do that for individual users. So everybody has their own security profile and they can connect up to corporate databases, only those things that they are allowed to be connected up to. So this platform is extraordinarily flexible that way. But in this SMB case, we've created some simplified categories to essentially allow organizations to very quickly set up a very strong SASE system.